Welcome to Inspired Living with Keri Murphy, the podcast, where as your host each and every week, I am going to inspire you and empower you to share your message and step into that big vision you see for yourself. I'll be bringing you celebrity interviews, influencer insights, and my personal tips from decades as an on-camera talent, TV host, media expert, and entrepreneur, so you can build a brilliant seven-figure brand. Because when you're inspired, you inspire others. So let's go. Did you wake up this morning jumping out of bed, full of energy, ready to take on the world? Or did you wake up with aches and pains and a sense of overwhelm and exhaustion? Energy. It is all around us and it's all within us. And in this episode, I talked to my friend Natalie Southgate about that exact thing. And I loved this episode because it brought me back to the power that we all have in controlling our energy, understanding our chakras. Natalie is a Hay House author and the founder of a movement therapy modality called chakra dance. She has run classes at Deepak Chopra's center in California. She leads retreats around the world and has trained hundreds of accredited facilitators who are running chakra dance classes in 59 countries. And we talked about the power that we have to clear our energy and what it means to grow a business that is unconventional, how you scale, and really the importance of being visible online and the importance of being instead of doing. I think you're going to love this episode, and it's really going to help you tap in to a new, renewed energy in your own life. All right, Miss Natalie Southgate, welcome to the show. So excited to have you.
So excited to be here.
Now, anyone can tell that accent isn't from around these parts. Tell us, Natalie, tell us where you're from.
I'm from Australia. I live in a beautiful part of the world called Noosa, which is just north of Brisbane. So very warm all year round. We were just talking about that.
Yes, I'm bundled up in a sweater and she's in a beautiful sundress. Just goes to tell you I'm in the wrong place right now. But I will say I've been to Perth and Brisbane and Melbourne, and I just love Aussies. And I have some dear, dear friends that are Aussies as well. So you just bring an energy to those people around you. And I don't think that's a coincidence that energy is kind of your thing. Yes?
Very much my thing. Yes.
So you're in Australia. I'm here in the States. And, there's a lot going on right now in our world and in our country. This year, 2020, has been one that I don't think anyone in the world could have predicted. And yet, we're also in a place right now where we're choosing the next president and moving into a new year with 2021. And there's a lot of energy that is around us, that is happening within us. And Natalie, you talk a lot about energy. We'll talk about chakra dance in a little bit, which I'm super excited to talk about. But can you take us back to a little bit where you really understood the power of energy?
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I think probably when I really did first understand the power of energy, when I did discover the chakras, to be honest. But I'll tell you a little story, which may be a way of demonstrating it. I was 17 years old and I was actually having a period with terrible menstrual cramping. And my boyfriend at the time put his hands on my stomach and I felt this heat and the pain went away. And I was like, what did you do? What was that? And if you think this was 35 years ago or whatever, a long time ago, where things like Reiki weren't well known, it was all very kind of underground. And he said, I did Reiki. And I was like, what is this? And I then discovered the power of energy healing. That was the beginning of my journey into this world. And, I think we grow up very much believing that we are a physical body, which of course we are, but we are so much more than a physical body. We have this energetic body that surrounds us. And, it's not just a woo-woo theory. There's a lot of evidence now, a lot of scientific evidence now that can connect this, that can prove this, the electromagnetic field that surrounds us. And within this field, we hold all of our, emotional energy, everything that happens to us, the feelings, the thoughts, memories are all stored, all these different energies in the energy field. So obviously when things are going on in the world that are going on now, we know on the most dense vibration, the physical vibration, how it can make us feel. We can imagine the effect that's having on the energy body. I'm sure if we could all see our energetic bodies at the moment, they would be holes and tears and rips. And,
what is going on? Yes.
What is going on? Yeah. What has 2020 done to our energy fields, really? And I think it's why it's so important to do energy work all the time. I mean, it's something that is so second nature to me. Like even working with something like as simple as the power of white light, the power of energy follows thought. Okay. So.
Okay, wait a second. I just want to reiterate that. Energy follows thought.
Yes.
Powerful. Mm-hmm.
Powerful. Okay. So, and if you think about what we think about a lot of the time, a lot of the negative things we're thinking about the energies following those thoughts all the time. If we can start to think, and if you can use visualization. If you can't, you can think it, you can say it, but just imagining a stream of white light and feeling that pouring just through your physical body, but pouring also through your energy body can make such a difference. Okay. It can start to clear these darkness, this kind of toxic energy that we've been taking on. I hope I'm not sounding too woo-woo here, because it can sound woo-woo, but it's actually not. Trust me.
I remember for about a year, I would travel to Australia and New Zealand and Hong Kong, and I was an NLP facilitator, and we would help the people who attended go through this white light work. And it was so amazing to take people through that clearing of cutting ties and really like seeing the white light starting with the head, right? And bringing it down. And I forget about how powerful that is and how much we give our energy to the negative thoughts instead of claiming it and clearing it. And it does sound woo-woo unless you practice it, right? But this has been around for a very long time. The chakras have been around for a long time. Reiki's been around for a long time. And yet most of us in the Western world don't practice it or don't understand it. So I love the idea. It's as simple. So take me through a little practice, Natalie, because I think a lot of us right now could use a little more white light in our life. Like, what would that look like if we were to try to do some energy clearing on our own?
Okay. So, what I have found personally the best is to actually try and incorporate it into daily rituals, because we just don't forget otherwise. So the two main ways I do it is every time I'm having a shower, every day I'm having a shower, not only am I clearing my physical body with the water, but I bring in the white light while I'm having the shower. So I imagine the water is filled with the white light. It's pouring down my body, but also around my body, clearing, seeing it go down the plug hole, any of the negativity, any of the dense energy, any of the things you may have picked up from your neighbor, as they dumped their story on you that morning as you're walking the dog. We take all of this stuff on. We take on fragments from different places, from different people. So having this sort of daily ritual where you can just be reminded, I'm in the shower. I'm not only clearing physically, I'm intentionally clearing this space. That's one. The other one I always do without fail is I never walk through the front door of my house without clearing. So as I put the key in the door, it's my trigger to go, okay, let go, white light. It's like a hose.
Could that also be when you're like pushing the garage door open? Like, okay,
yes,
open,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Whatever trigger is going to remind you. And I always see that like a big hose of white light. It's like, I'm not going to bring in anything that I've picked up from out there. And let's face it, there is so much out there.
So much out there.
Into my sacred space, into my home. Okay. I'm going to step in clear. And it sounds so simple, but try this for a week. I invite everybody listening to try this for 1 week, 1 day even, and start to notice the little differences in how you feel, how more relaxed you are, how much more calm you feel. It has a huge impact for something that's so simple. Even if you don't believe it, try it.
All right. We're doing the White Light 7-day challenge, right? Yes. It's a 7-day challenge starting right now. And I love it because it's so simple and it's practical. And I want to say this might sound a little freaky, but like to envision the shower, right? And the light coming through and just washing away and filling you and clearing you. Like it's actually a really beautiful visualization of what the shower and the light, is washing away. And I think, gosh, all of us can take a couple minutes and whether you believe it or not, practice it. And then 7 days, come back to me and tell me how you're feeling. So I love it. Let's talk really quickly because there's so much I want to talk about, Natalie. I'm so inspired by what you've accomplished in an industry that most people would say is challenging. When you have healers, any sort of modalities that might not be mainstream, and you're trying to build a business around those, we tell ourselves the story that it can be very hard. So I do want to talk to you about the business side as well, since I work with entrepreneurs, but I want to go back very quickly and just talk about chakras. How can you help someone understand what they are if they haven't really heard or understood chakras in the past?
Okay, do it as a little simple explanation to help everybody understand. So as I said earlier, we're more than just a physical body. Okay, so we have this energetic body surrounding us. And the chakras are like the power centers of this aura, of this energetic field that we have around us. And we have 7 major chakras, and they're located along the spine. Okay. And each chakra, you can almost link it back to our Western way of thinking, because each chakra really connects to a different part of the body. Okay, so, and it affects the health of that part of the body. And each chakra is connected to a different gland. And each one is really connected to a different aspect of our lives. Okay, so very quickly, it's our sense of survival in the first one. It's our sense of sexuality and pleasure in the second one. It's all about our personal power and confidence in the third one. It's all about how we love and how we forgive in the heart. Then we move up into our creativity and how we express ourselves. And then it's all about our intuition and how we use our imagination. And then finally, it's all about how we connect to that more spiritual aspect of ourselves. So you can see the chakras really influence and encompass the whole of human experience. And we get signs. So if there's an imbalance in a chakra, what that means is that we have the energies blocked. The energy's not flowing freely. And we're energy. We're moving energy all the time. So if the energy is flowing freely in all of our chakras, we feel good. Life feels good. All of those areas I just spoke about are in flow. Okay. That's kind of called enlightenment.
Yes. Something we're all striving for. Yes.
Because most of us don't have that, do we? Let's face it. Most of us have an issue in one of those areas I spoke about, or 2 or 3 of those areas I spoke about.
Maybe,
we have
just maybe.
Just maybe. Some of us have health issues around, different issues of the different parts of the body, different, hormonal issues, so on and so on. These are all little indicators. It can almost be diagnostic in a way that you can see where you are having an imbalance. And it just means that the energy is not flowing freely. And that's from a whole magnitude of reasons. It could be from some kind of physical accident you had once upon a time that's blocked energy. It could be from an emotional, injury that you've had. It can be from limited belief patterns that we've been stuck in. It could have been passed down from our parents. Some say it comes in from past lives. There's lots of reasons that energy gets stuck. And I don't really try not to get too caught up in that, because it's really, I think my job is helping people free up that flow of energy, free it up, release. We're releasing. And, it's normally stuck emotion. That's what I find. It's normally like something's happened and we've not expressed the emotion.
We've stuffed it really good.
Stuffed it. It's in the body, and you wonder why you've got that pain in your back. It's the emotion you didn't feel at 7 years old that's still there. You know? Yeah.
And maybe that's why my back has been hurting for weeks on end. It's so funny because now that I'm in midlife, right, in my 40s, I'm finding that this conversation right now is so poignant because I'm in a place where I'm like, well, I'm tired, or I feel this ache or pain, or this is coming up. And I'm thinking, well, do I need supplements? Do I need this? And this conversation is actually bringing me back to something that I've experienced and I've learned, but I haven't been practicing. And just like anything, right, if we don't use the skills that we have, and this is such a simple thing, even just the white light, thinking about that, but thinking about where's your energy being cut off? Where are you suppressing? What are you keeping down? Who are you surrounding yourself with? What toxicity are you allowing into your life that is affecting your energy fields at all levels? So I just appreciate this because not only am I going to stop thinking about supplements as much, but, really looking at where the energy, right, is being stuck. And that is such a perfect segue into chakra dance. So you're talking about movement and, emotions being stuck and our energy, being depleted or being stifled. So tell me, how in the world, did you come up with chakra dance? And I'm happy for you and excited to read your new book, and you're a Hay House published author, which is amazing. And you've worked with Deepak Chopra. And so tell me, how in the world did chakra dance come to be?
I know it came. I think it really just came to me. It was something that came. That was a download. It was definitely a download. Do you know? It happened to me one night. I was 30 years old when it happened, and I think it was really a combination of. I think it all starts right back in childhood, doesn't it? Yes. Dance was, for me, dance was everything. I was such a shy child who.
I could totally see that. No, I can't. cannot see that. And I've watched your videos. You do not look like a shy child.
So shy, so introverted, still deeply, deeply introverted, actually. So my parents didn't know what to do. They actually took me to a doctor. Is there something wrong with her? And he said, send her to dance lessons. Wow. And they said, she will never dance. She will never get on a stage. And, it was for me, the minute I started to move and dance, and I did the structured, ballet and tap and jazz. But at the end of every class, our teacher would put on music and just do the free form. And that was when I felt most alive and free and just myself. When I think back at those times, it's almost like going from black and white to color. That's my life. I just would come alive. So that was sort of the beginning of it, I think. And back then I used to say, when I grow up, I'm going to be a dance teacher. So I didn't quite know what I'd be teaching, but I think that was planted. And then, like I told earlier, at 17, I came across the energy work, through Reiki, but I was too young, and I was, very brought up in a very Catholic upbringing. It was all quite taboo, I guess, in my world. And I had a few frightening experiences, and I kind of just went, no, this energy work is just not for me. And I backpacked around Europe and ended up living in London for 12 years. And I set up a recruitment company. I ran a recruitment business for 7 years in the advertising industry. So a totally different world.
Totally, yes.
Totally different person. I was a chain smoker, drinker, partier, burnt the candle at both ends. Just, it was the 90s. I was in London. I had this company, the company car. It was just booming. But I was sick. I was fainting. Yeah. I had severe hypoglycemia. I was stuck in this I've kind of got everything I want, but why is this it? I was 25. I was like, is this it? I don't feel right. This doesn't feel right for me. Mm. And then the company where my business was, there was a casting studio upstairs, and there was this girl who did all their accounts. And at 5 o'clock every day, she'd light up and run out the door. And one day I said to her, where do you go? You look so excited at 5 o'clock. What happened?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? I want some. And she said, I'm a teacher at the College of Psychic Studies. I teach psychic development. And I went, oh, and it was like, oh my God, that's like my old life. There was this little kind of ringing bell of, wow. So she brought me the brochure, and this college has been there over 200 years. It's still there now. And they teach psychic development, energy healings, angel work, psychometry, everything possible, right? So I basically joined the college. I was there for 5 years. I trained as an energy healer, and I learned all about the chakras. That's where I started learning about the chakras. And I started working in their clinic, and then they invited me to teach about the chakras, because chakras became my thing. It was the first time in my life that I had found something that just made complete sense of life for me. It was like a map to help me navigate my way through life. It was like discovering gold. That's the only way I can describe it. It was like, oh my God, why did I not learn this in schools? Which is why I created a kids program as well, which is in some schools, but I won't talk about that now. But That to me was the gold. And then one day I was teaching about the chakras, and I was, I had the whiteboard, and I'm sort of moving and teaching, and I'm thinking, gosh, it's not quite translating. And finding the chakras had led me back to my passion of dance. It's funny when we start to come back to ourselves, how we find our truth again. And,
wait. That's too powerful to just run over. When we get back to the truth of ourselves. Right. Yeah. We find ourselves again. And listening to your story, I love it so much, Natalie, because I know that there is someone listening right now who can relate so much that maybe they've abandoned what they really love to do. And they have found themselves, in the chain smoking, place in their life where they just feel stuck and stagnant. And it's funny when we plug back in to those childhood dreams, those childhood loves, those things that lit us up as a little girl. And I can just see the freeform dancing. And I just thought to myself, like, when's the last time I did that? I see my 5-year-old do it, but I love to dance. I grew up dancing too. And I just thought to myself, when is the last time I danced? Really? And it brings me so much joy. And I love that you're bringing this mainstream and helping us connect with that. And I can totally see like what a completely 180, 360 you did, right? Compared to where you were and to where you are and what you're doing now. So I just wanted someone to really sit with this, because I know that we often abandon what we truly love. But when we get back to it, like our truth really comes out, like our real inner essence of who we are gets to be expressed.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think it is true for everybody. I think what lights us up, that passion we have as children, is the soul essence of us. Yes. It is our essence. And when we do lose contact with that, it does have an impact. So to reclaim that, and that's what started to happen to me. I was like, but I didn't want to do the structured dance. I wanted that free form. So I started searching shamanic dance, 5 rhythms dance, elemental dance, or any alternate dance class I could find, I would go and do. But in the end, what I found I loved doing the most was just coming home, and I'd move my furniture to the side. I lived in a top floor apartment in London. I'd push the sofas back. I'd light a candle. I'd set an intention for healing, and I would put my music on and I would just dance. And this became my daily movement meditation practice. And then this one day, so I did that for a couple of years. And then this one day when I was 30, I'd just been teaching all day, and I came home and I pushed everything. I remember my husband was away, so I really cranked the music up and I was like, here we go. And as I was dancing, this was the moment. This is how chakra dance came through. I started to feel that different vibrations of the music were I could feel them touching different chakras, because I'd been teaching the chakras all day. So I could feel
you're very connected with them. Yes.
I was so in it, and I could feel that the music was connecting to the chakras, and that the feelings that were coming up were connected to that chakra. And this whole thing happened, and I heard the name chakra dance, and I was like, of course. Of course. That was 22 years ago. Of course.
Wow.
This is what I'm meant to do. But, I thought it was for me. I had no idea that I was going to be sharing it with other people. I just did it for myself. That was the beginning of it.
All right, Natalie. So like so many other amazing female visionaries and entrepreneurs, you got this download. You got the chakra dance. And I watched the videos and I've heard the music that goes with each chakra. Like, it's really amazing. And it looks like so much fun. And so let's talk about that in a minute. But here, you're in a place that is unconventional. And I know you're in Australia, but really anywhere in the world. That's what I love about the landscape right now and the environment, is that we have the ability to be global entrepreneurs and have impacts all over. And how did you take this idea into a business concept when I'm sure you had people say, you're crazy. How are you going to make money with that? Anyone in the healer kind of service industry, it's very challenging, I think, for people to really see how they can monetize and make a substantial living off of that passion. So tell us what you did. What was the first thing you did?
Okay, so it has been a journey. It has been an incredibly long journey, and a beautiful one, painful and beautiful all at once.
They usually are. Yeah.
I had a whole run of great luck, and I think that was a beautiful start for me. So the first thing I did was start traveling. I started running workshops. I sold my recruitment business, which gave me some funding. I thought I was doing both for ages. I sold the business and started running workshops. And
okay, so I just want to make sure people understand, you didn't just quit your job and start something brand new. So you had the recruitment agency and you were doing that for a while you were building up the chakra dance.
Absolutely. In fact, I used to run chakra dance in my recruitment office at night. I would cover the computers and light candles and invite people in. That's how it started. And then they wanted to bring friends. And then I hired a hall. It was so organic. At no point I can't even remember the moment where I said, I'm going to make this into a business. It was so organic in its flow of just more people, and opportunities would just come in. Can you come here and run a workshop? Can you come here and run a workshop? And then the events got bigger, and the people running the events were more well-known people. And, it just sort of grew and grew from there. But I think but there was a lot of stigma. Absolutely. Like a lot of people were like, how are you doing? You've sold your recruitment company to run these chakra dance classes? Are you crazy?
Are you crazy? Yeah.
So, there was that whole side. But I think For me, the moment was when I was 35 when I had my first baby, and I've got 2 children. And that was the moment that I went, hang on a second, how am I going to do this? I can't travel the world. And, and I was 5 months pregnant when I was running my workshops with Deepak Chopra, and I was vomiting in between. And,
oh, no.
with all the morning sickness. And then that's when I thought, do you know what? Chakra dance isn't about me. Chakra dance is its own thing. And I think that was probably the first of those moments of, this is a modality. It's not me. It's something that I could train other people to run. So that's when I created my facilitator training program. And that was 16 years ago, because the online world wasn't really around that much then. And I ran my first one as a 10-day residential retreat. And I was 8.5 months pregnant. And I was like birthing this training.
Right, literally.
And my daughter at the same time. But that was the beginning of it turning into a business, I think, because I then created this facilitated training and the tribe started to grow. So suddenly it wasn't just me. Suddenly there's this beautiful, beautiful network of people that, we're like a family who've been growing it together. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well,
it takes a few to grow a business.
It really does.
Yes.
And I think that's where I have been so blessed. And then the online, moving online, which I did probably about 8 years ago when I stopped running everything live and moved into the online training in particular. And now we're moving into online for the facilitators as well. That's been the game changer, because suddenly you're not just trying to reach the people in your local community, you can go global.
It's global. So I want to go back to a couple things, because Natalie, I can totally see you 8.5 months pregnant. I was doing trainings when I was 8.5 pregnant. I had actually my little boy this year, and I was running my trainings. I'm like, okay, let's see how far this mama can go. But such a beautiful reminder that when you realize that you had to leverage yourself, that, that chakra dance wasn't you, it was the modality that you were teaching, and you could train other people to do it. Again, you have a book, you have trainings, you have a YouTube channel. And I think it's so important that if you are a solopreneur right now who is still trading time for dollars, or you are the spokesperson, the service provider, the accountant, the bookkeeper, the janitor, like at some point, right, your business can't grow. And that's where you really move from, I think, owning a great hobby or owning a job into owning a company, is when you learn how to duplicate yourself. Because at the end of the day, there's only so much that can go around, especially as moms. We need to figure that out. And then it was like music to my ears when you were talking about online. There's a panic, I think, right now with most people that have not used this amazing platform and all the incredible features we have, that are finding through COVID and through, everything going virtual. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to show up now, and yet you figured that out early on. Talk to me about how I see a lot of video, which I love. How has that been an important part, a vital part of growing your business, is your exposure and using video and getting yourself out there?
It's been huge. And, I wish...
And you're an introvert. Let's just go back to that.
I am. And most people don't recognize that in me, but I am deeply introverted. And, it was when I wrote my first book, which was 15 years ago with Hay House, they said to me then, you should start a vlog, a video. And I was like, oh my gosh.
A video blog. Right.
No one was doing it then, and I was horrified at the idea. And I look back and go, I wish I should have followed their advice. I really should have, because the nervousness around doing video, and I know you talk a lot about perfection and all of that sort of stuff, but it has been enormous. The more I do it, and I think, you teach all of this, the more that you are just authentically yourself, and you're doing it. I tend to say it's just not about me. It's not about me.
Yes. It's not about you.
It's not about me. It's really not. It's about the person I'm talking to, the people I'm talking to, what's the message that I can share, the mistakes that I have done, like how can we all be in this together and grow? And I think the more you get caught up with, I'm going to say the wrong thing, or I don't look right. It just becomes, a really hard.
It becomes hard.
It becomes hard, and you don't do it, and you don't do it.
Right. So, or you'll look back and be like, oh, I'm not doing that again, and you said this so well, and it's important for people to understand that really video is the muscle. It's muscle memory. It's a neurological pathway. Like, it's a new conditioning for yourself to really get over who you are and step into who you be, and really connect with people through the other side, and really be of service. And it takes the fear away. It takes the stress of saying everything right when you know that one person on the other side you're trying to reach. You don't have to think about every word because you just organically and authentically talk to that person, and you've done that so well in what you've done. And it really is such an incredible opportunity. If you're not using video already, it's never too late. This is not going to go away. This is where everyone lives. Even when everything opens back up again, the virtual space will never go away. And it is really paramount, I think, to building any sort of brand is you have to be, as I say, Googleable, right? You have to be visible. You have to be willing to get over your fear of judgment so you can step in and help people with, powerful transformations, Natalie, which is exactly what you've done. So how do people like Chakra Dance? I've seen the video. If you haven't, go to her YouTube and no, go to your website, right? That's where you have the video there. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, that's chakradance.com. Yep.
Made it simple for you.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we put it in the show notes as well. The show notes. I think I said show dance right then. That just tells you I'm in the flow. Well, is it hard to learn? Is it just something that you do in your space? Is it a ritual? Like, tell me more.
Okay, there's nothing to learn, which I think is why it's so beautiful. It's all done. So you can do it in live classes. So we have over 800 facilitators in 59 countries now. And at the moment, obviously, not everybody is running live classes, but there are a few live classes. If you can ever get to a live class being held in that beautiful sacred space by a facilitator is definitely the way to go. But they're now running e-courses. So it's not sort of on Zoom. It's more you get materials that you download, you do the practice at home, and then you connect to talk about it later on Zoom. But the dance itself, it's all your own free form flowing dance. You dance with your eyes closed. This is what makes it quite different to a lot of other dance practices because it's all about feeling the music. So as we talked earlier, the music, and I've got a full-time musician now. I have for the last 8 years.
How exciting, yes.
All the music is fully composed. I play the crystal bowl that's resonant to each chakra into the music. And then the music, it's so different for each chakra. The bass
I noticed that, yes.
And earthy and percussive and, African drums and didgeridoos. And for that, it's closing your eyes and we take you on like a guided journey. So you might go into a cave and connect your feet into the ground and smell the rich roots of the trees, and a power animal may come and you connect. So it's all like a dancing, moving meditation that you find your own movement to. And it's very different for each chakra. The music is different. It's like entering into these 7 different inner parts of ourselves, these 7 different inner worlds. And some of them are really comfortable in and can get in there and just rock it, and others like, oh my goodness, it's so uncomfortable in here. And this is where you might have some emotion come up and you might have some come up. It's very safe. I studied as a Jungian psychotherapist. When I started Chakra Dance, I'd moved from studying the chakras, and then Carl Jung was the first Westerner to work with the chakras. So I studied Jungian psychology. And to be a therapist, you have to go into analysis. So I did 10 years of personal analysis as well.
Wow.
Very introverted, going right into myself.
Yes.
But the whole Jungian philosophy is about safety. It's about bringing the unconscious parts of ourselves into consciousness so that we can be the most full, the most healed, the most whole person that we can be. But it's not done in this kind of, let's just go in and break open every memory that we have to have. And, it's gentle. It's a gentle movement therapy that's done from where you're at. Each dance, it's like we shift dance by dance by dance by dance. You shift a little bit until suddenly that old pattern's gone. Suddenly your life has shifted. Suddenly you see the change in your outer world. But there's nothing to learn. It's about being. It's about surrendering. It's about feeling. It's about letting go. It's about releasing. It's almost the opposite to learning to do something.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds so amazing that it really works through your inner critic too and allows you to really self-express. I'm like, that sounds like a whole lot more fun than like sitting on a couch in a therapist's office, right? Like it sounds like a whole lot more fun. And something that I also believe is that, that philosophy also teaches that you're not broken, right? That there's nothing about you that is broken, that we are whole. And yet there are things that are blocked that have kept us blocked. And energy is a huge part of our lives. And when we really understand that in a deeper way and understand that we have the power to heal and to cleanse, we're doing a 7-day white light challenge starting today, and to really take control, because I think we have a tendency to let things like the media or people around us or social media really like suck our energy and then we feel depleted. And yet we're always a renewed energy source. Like it's always there, right? We're always connected to something greater. We just
Absolutely.
have to know how to connect and how to move into that. And chakra dance sounds amazing. I'm certainly going to try it. I don't know how I'm going to clear things out and be quiet enough with the 2 kids in the house. I will find a way.
That's okay. You don't need a lot of space. You just need a little corner. Close your eyes, put the lights out if you can. It's better in the dark. On my website, there's actually a free gift, which is a 15-minute dance through all 7 chakras.
Amazing.
So, yeah, everyone can download that and try it. You just need 15 minutes, close your eyes, put the music loud and just follow the guidance. Yeah, I'd love to hear how you go.
Oh, I will tell you how I go. It sounds very good. And just a reminder, this has been such an enlightening conversation. And I think we touched on so many great topics, Natalie. One is, continue to focus on the thing that lights you up. If you're in a place right now where you feel depleted and you're not excited to wake up every day, really go back to that little girl, that little boy, like what your dreams were. Did you love to dance? Did you love to sing? Did you love art? Like, what did you love sports? And how are you expressing that in your adult life? Because I feel like we get so confined to what we feel we should be doing instead of what we feel called to do. So I really appreciated that part of your story. And then to understand that no matter what you do, when you learn to leverage who you are and you learn to replicate yourself and you trust yourself. I mean, you didn't quit your recruiting company right away, Natalie, but you did trust, right, that this download was right for you. And I'm sure, and I've read some of your, posts that not everyone was supportive, so let's briefly talk about that. How do you work through the people who, for some reason or another, have an objection to chakra dance or what it is that you're doing, the judgment? Because again, as an introvert putting yourself out there, one of the things I hear so much from our clients is, that fear of being judged is real.
It is. It really is. And I think that's probably did slow my growth, to be honest. I think that kind of hiding a little bit in the background did slow me down. But I think it's through doing my own healing work, to be honest. I like to think of our business, it's almost like we are the energetic foundation of our business. Wherever we're at is where our business will be at. And I can see that the holes that have been in my business were the very much reflective of the holes that were within me. And, the solar plexus for me, that internal power, that self-empowerment, that true confidence, not that out there sort of confidence, that real quiet inner confidence. Yeah. I needed to do a lot of work on that, and the more I have worked with that, genuinely healing that, genuinely releasing what needed to be released so I could feel into that again, the more it just doesn't affect me in the same way. It just doesn't, If anything, what it's done now is help me become more passionate. I'm so passionate about the modality. Chakra dance is my world, but I'm equally as passionate now about helping other people with their healing businesses. I've now got Chakra Dance Business School as part of my facilitator training because it's something that I didn't step up to early enough in the business. And I don't want to see other people, especially my facilitators, do the same thing, So I now have, that's, such a passion of mine is to help healers become abundant healers.
It is possible. It really is possible.
It is possible. Yeah. So, but it's continuously coming back and doing your own personal growth, I believe is the key to then being able to take that out there. And then, sure, other people are going to say things, but it just doesn't touch you as much. It just doesn't affect you as much.
Yeah. You build that, I don't want to say a wall. We're not building walls, but you build, if anything, you take down a wall. I think it's actually the opposite of that, right? You take it down and, you have such a connection with who you're serving and what you're doing. And I can feel your energy, which I love with what it is that you're doing. And you get to this place of inner knowing and inner trust and an inner confidence within yourself. And like you said, it's a quiet voice. It's not the go big, go home. It's this inner knowing that what you're doing makes a difference. And I certainly believe that what you're doing is making a great difference, Natalie. So thank you for that. I always wrap up with, what does inspired living mean to you?
And when I first heard the name of your brand, I was like, yes, inspired living means everything to me. Inspired, it really does. To me, to be inspired is to be in spirit, and I feel that, I think for me personally, and I'm sure I speak for many people with this, that when we are not in inspired living, we feel alone. It's like we have to do all the work ourselves. We have to take all the responsibility ourselves. We have to come up with everything. It's like we have to hold it all together. When we are in spirit, when we have that connection, and I don't mean religion as such, I'm from a religious background, so it's not about religion. It's really whatever that spiritual connection is for each person. To when you are having that connection, there's this holding, we're given help, it's this constant stream of help. We're in the dance of the universe almost, like it's, and I find that through the dance and, through meditation, through nature. So I'm really ensure that they are big parts of my life, that I keep that flow of inspiration flowing all the time, or else it just feels too hard.
Yes, so. I love that so much. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your story and sharing chakra dance with us. I'm truly excited to try it. And it also was such a great reminder to just get back plugged in to the power that we all have to heal, to control our energy, to stay in spirit and connected, and to really not let what's happening in the world, affect us, affect our mission, affect our vision, and who and how we want to show up on this planet. So thank you so much, Natalie.
Thank you so much, Keri. It's been such a great honor to be here with you today.
When you get to the States, let's get together.
Yes.
Or when I get your way.
When you get here, yeah.
Perfect. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Thank you.
You've just heard another uplifting episode of Inspired Living with Keri Murphy, the podcast. I hope you loved it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And if you'd like to know more about Inspired Living or to get your hands on many of our awesome free resources, such as the Be Studio Ready Guide, simply visit us at inspiredliving.tv/podcast. Remember, your vision is your destiny, and we're here to help you bring it to life. Join me again next week for another extraordinary episode.